two of us here today. Wow.
We're 5 minutes late, so we're going to jump right into this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Michael McBrine Show with Michael McBrine. We're live.
Stereo mics today.
Yes, two mics in the hizzy, as no one likes to say.
As no one should ever say.
No one should ever say. Do you like the Shawn Michaels HB Shizzle? Have you heard that one?
Mm-mm.
That's like an actual thing that he tried to get going.
Ugh.
And whenever he makes an appearance, he'll say HB Shizzle.
You know,
And it's really cringeworthy.
Well, like, the more and more I get to know about the guy, like, just through, like, people talking about him and people that work with him and people that had to deal with the guy, the less and less I appreciate him.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like...
I love to hear Jim Cornette talk about him because he has such fire for HBK.
Jim Cornette's like... something about you may be born again, but you're still an asshole or something.
Oh,
like that.
He also said usually the people that resort to talking to God is because no one else will talk to him. Oh my God,
Jim Cornette is my hero.
Jim Cornette's a national treasure, even though I don't agree with him on a lot of things.
What don't you agree with him about?
I mean, just like
his politics.
No. I agree with his politics for the most part. I mean, just like certain people he, goes after. You know, he
talking about wrestlers?
Just like wrestlers and
like
stuff.
Like Kenny Omega and Joey Ryan? And
all that? Especially the Kenny Omega thing. I can almost understand with Joey Ryan, but Joey Ryan's been doing that his whole career. He's been Speedo guy his whole goddamn career. I think there was even a point where he played a wrestler who came out as part of as part of a storyline.
I can't stand Joey Ryan. I mean, these guys, they do more to hurt the wrestling business than they help. They help themselves in the short term.
The Attitude Era hurt wrestling just as much. I mean, if you look at certain things that were done on that like wide of a scale, as far as like being able,
but more or less
being able to watch it,
it was still grounded in reality, though.
I mean, come on, the choppy pee thing.
Well,
the Mae Young giving birth to a hand.
it was one of the few times I've ever turned off Raw.
The whole rape angle with Kane and Lita, where she ended up having his rape baby. I thought you were going to say
Katie Vick.
Yeah, that too, where HBK literally fucked a dead woman's brains out. God. You mean to tell me that? I think if they could come back from that, I think wrestling could come back from Joey Ryan's dick suplex or whatever. Or Kenny Omega wrestling a little girl. I mean.
Now that was worse than all that.
Yeah, but it wasn't
straight up killed kayfabe.
If the internet wasn't around, it wouldn't matter.
But you know what? I give him a break because,
I mean, you've seen those matches, right?
People make mistakes.
Yeah.
So you got to give him a pass. He's
an amazing wrestler.
I would hope that he wouldn't try that again. Yeah. Like if he could do that all over again, he wouldn't. But who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, I've gone kind of light on Kenny Omega. I still don't really care to see him in WWE at any point. The Young Bucks are the ones I really don't care for at all.
Well, see, that's the thing. The thing about the Young Bucks and
they just have this smug attitude.
The heat between the Young Bucks and Jim Cornette. I think that's a work, honestly.
Do you really? No, I think Jim Cornette's just a grumpy dude.
Yeah, but Jim Cornette will still put titles on those guys.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I think he would. If it was good for business, that's what I love about Jim Cornette. If it's good for business, he will do it. It doesn't matter if he likes it or not. If it's good for business, he'll do it.
All right, so there's several things I'd like to pick your brain about.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, now that you've had a couple of days to think about it, what happened Friday night?
Me and Brian had a big miscommunication.
What happened after the show was over and you guys were driving home? Because I imagine it. I imagine for two I don't want to use the word normal people, but two people that aren't yourselves, it would have been an awkward car ride home. But I have a feeling every car ride's a little bit of an awkward car ride. So what was the car ride home like?
It was just nothing. It was just like, oh man, when it was horrible, but we're alive. Yeah, it's I tend to get over things like that pretty quickly.
I imagine no one wants to see me eating chicken wings right now. I'm just gonna put the camera on you for a while. I think.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to see me doing anything. I'm gonna start drinking the Dr. Pepper just to.
If I just put a show logo up, you think that would make people upset?
I don't know why. You're just seeing two.
Oh, you know what?
Weirdos.
Here, hold on a second. I got an idea. We're going to just put an image up for people to look at, and I think you can guess what the image is. Here we go. There we go. There's an image for everyone to look at. There you go.
Is it a picture of Randy? I hope it's a picture of Randy.
Oh yeah, of course. He really does have no neck in this picture.
He doesn't have one in any picture, in anything. He didn't have one in life.
I was trying to explain to my wife something about, because I talked to her about this show. I'm like, oh man, would something funny really happen tonight? Or Randy revealed something personally wasn't supposed to tonight, or something. And one of the things I said was, I was laughing really hard when you referred to Randy as a sentient Muppet. And you know what? That out of context does not translate well, because she was like, I don't get it. It's like, a sentient Muppet. And then the worst thing you can do to kill a joke, or the best thing you can do to kill a joke actually, is to explain it. So I was explaining it, and then it was like, it just lost all its funny. I was like, well, I guess you had to be there, but yeah, sentient Muppet.
the part I did like that for it. The part I patted myself on the back for was the whole tying it into Skynet for some reason. I was like, I gave myself a nerd pat on the back. Like that's a good tie-in. Like, that's a good nerdy tie-in.
Well, did you watch the Super Bowl?
Yes.
What did you think?
I thought it was exciting, and it was you want to know the reason why it was exciting to me? And I sat down and I thought about this. Because
the Patriots could cheat at any moment.
Well, the Patriots were losing, and then the Patriots are coming back, and I was getting excited for the Patriots coming back. It's like, because I hate both teams, so it's like when one's, you're rooting for one to lose. You're not rooting for anybody to win. You're rooting for one of them to lose. So that's what the mode I was in. So anytime there would like be something of a shift, score change or a change of momentum, I was like still, thoroughly into it.
You know the best thing that could have happened? The absolute best thing? I'm not even joking.
The scene from Dark Knight Rises happened.
Yes.
Swallowed up all
I don't want to see anybody actually get killed or anything.
I don't think they died. No one gets...
In that scene, they don't die?
No.
I think the best thing that could have happened...
I got a rule. If you don't see it on screen, it doesn't happen.
This could have realistically happened. Is if the Patriots won... But in the process, Tom Brady has a career-ending injury. That would have been the best thing that could have happened. You know what?
Yeah, that probably would have been the best outcome.
That would have been the best thing that could have happened.
The Patriots won. No, but I got to say, I did enjoy... I got to say, I think the Philly fans are some of the worst human beings on the face of the planet. And they proved it.
Yeah.
But... Oh God, there's a part of me that enjoys watching that much fuckery going on. God, I was thoroughly enjoyed, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching the Super Bowl, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching Philadelphia tear its own city apart.
Yeah,
out of
really
happiness.
Sad if you think about it. I thought it was hilarious when they greased the poles in advance, like the light poles, because they knew they were dealing with a bunch of fucking degenerates. That's kind of Philly's charm, though.
Yeah,
there's a reason ECW thrived in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, man, it's just like, oh God, the city of brotherly loves does breed a lot of degenerates.
It's one less thing for us Dallas Cowboys fans to laugh at now. It's kind of sad.
No. We can still laugh at the fact that we got way more rings than they do.
You know, it's funny. The thing that cracked me up the most was Philly fans talking about dynasty. They were throwing out the word, we have a new dynasty. It's like, you won one Super Bowl. It took you like 60 years to win that one Super Bowl. And I got news for you. You don't even know who your quarterback is next year. You know?
I can't wait till the Browns win their one Super Bowl. That way, when the Browns win their one Super Bowl, the teams that won one Super Bowl, it'll no longer be special anymore. Winning one Super Bowl will no longer be special anymore.
So who do we got left as far as teams that have? We got the Browns. We got the Texans.
I'm actually rooting for the Browns. I actually secretly root for the Browns.
I don't think the Bengals have ever won one, have they?
No, I don't think so. They've been close. Have they?
And of course, Jacksonville and Carolina have one, but they're still fairly new.
Yeah, my dream Super Bowl would be a Texans Cowboys at Texas Stadium, and that could actually happen.
Well, they imploded Texas Stadium, so
I mean not Texas Stadium. What am I talking about?
AT&T Stadium.
AT&T Stadium or Cowboy Stadium. I refuse to call it AT&T.
They'll go back to Irving and play on where Texas Stadium used to be.
Yeah, they'll play on a ghost field.
So during the Super Bowl, there was a certain commercial, a lot of tacky commercials.
I didn't see any of the commercials.
The Alexa commercial was just tacky and.
Well, I heard they were just okay this year. Not even okay.
They had a bunch of celebrities replace Alexa got a cold is what the basic plot of it was. So like people like Gordon Ramsay and Cardi B and Rebel Wilson were filling in, and it just wasn't funny. And of course there was a Tide commercial with the guy from Stranger Things, and it was okay. It just went. The joke could have been said in like 15 seconds, but then they just kept stretching it out. The commercial that piqued my interest the most, and of course, I only saw half the game because I was in Legoland with the kids. Because I was like, I don't care about this game. If I miss most of it, oh well. But I was able to catch like the last. I was able to catch I think the fourth quarter, which is really the only quarter I was really interested in seeing. It was a pretty exciting fourth quarter too. The commercial about the new Cloverfield movie. This was such a cool surprise. We don't get surprises like this.
Yeah.
Almost never do you ever hear like, oh, there's a brand new sequel to a franchise you're aware of. Not your favorite franchise. It would be funny if they would say, this isn't your favorite franchise. Like they should just know they're fans right now.
Yeah.
Like, but you really like the John Goodman movie, so here's another one. That was such a cool surprise. But then after watching it, and I'm assuming you watched it. Did you watch it? You kind of realize why they sprung it on us so that we wouldn't like start nitpicking it.
No, I don't think it was that. I mean, they did that.
What did you think of this?
They did that with Cloverfield
Paradox
too. They just kind of sprung it on us.
Well, no, we had weeks in advance.
Weeks,
trailers.
Weeks.
We had
it was just like it wasn't even that long. I think it was like. I think they announced it like the trailer started coming out a month before the movie came out. I think. And then that's where I remember that. Then I went to see it. Thing is,
but it had been saying the movie was slated, the Cloverfield Lane or whatever. But even before the trailer comes, so we knew that was a Cloverfield movie coming out.
No, it wasn't slated. No, it didn't. No. Was it?
The thing about Cloverfield Lane, you probably already know this by now, is it was a trick from the studio to try to get us to go see this movie that had nothing to do with Cloverfield. Mm-hmm. They had this movie with John Goodman. I think it was originally called like The Bunker or something like that. And they didn't know how to market it, but they figured, hey, wait a minute. We could slap the name Cloverfield on
Well,
there.
maybe they could. See, that's the thing, too. It's like people were using that as like oh, that sucks. But no, it could be just their thing.
Well,
it could be like an anthology series. From what it seems to be an anthology series.
The scene where they knock over the sign that says Cloverfield, that was specially shot after the movie was wrapped, just so they could slap the name Cloverfield. So I felt a little cheated.
Well, they did that with Cloverfield. They did that with both of the movie, Cloverfield Lane and the Cloverfield Paradox.
They kind of here's the thing about Cloverfield Paradox. I was trying to decide in my mind, did they film this first and then slap the name Cloverfield on there, or did they take a script for something else and then try to make it into Cloverfield?
What I was hearing is they took a script.
It really felt like this was not a script intended for Cloverfield, but somebody thought we can make some more money off this Cloverfield. What did you think of the movie Cloverfield Paradox?
I didn't hate it.
It was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was. It was stupid, pulpy sci-fi. It was stupid, pulpy sci-fi. And I do not have a problem with stoopy, pulpy sci-fi. I mean, I watched it with Brian, and Brian was lighting up the whole time. He was talking about like interdimensional travel and shit, and it was like he loves that stupid he loves that sci-fi. I
feel so
shit.
bad for you, man.
Interdimensional travel and like parallel universes. God, he loves that shit.
There were just some like, I hate to use the word plot hole around you, but or is that 2 words? Plot hole.
That's 2 words.
Hyphens. Plot hyphen hole. The thing.
Well, it's okay to use it around me, but it has to be a plot hole.
All right. Well, first of all, the name of the spacecraft they were on, was that called the Shepherd?
No.
Was it the Cloverfield?
Yeah.
Then what was the Shepherd? Was it on the Cloverfield? It was like the device they were using, like the Shepherd on the Cloverfield? Because it was a little confusing to me.
I think the Shepherd was the
I didn't know if the Cloverfield was like the manufacturer, like the SpaceX in their universe.
I have no clue.
Yeah, see, I was a little confused about that.
I think it's all intentionally supposed to be vague. Like I said, it's just an anthology series that loosely connects to each other.
Well, how does the second one connect?
Well, see, that's the thing. It might not even connect.
Yeah, I don't think it connects.
Well,
because they said it's like a.
They introduced parallel universes in this movie, so it could be taking place on the other in the other universe.
My biggest problem with Cloverfield Lane was that I didn't think it would have been that hard to link the movies more. Like all you had to do was
see, I think that's what I like about them about the sequels, because I hated the first movie. I thought it was shallow and the characters.
I ran into somebody tonight that hated Cloverfield Paradox more than they hated the first one.
I don't think that's possible for me.
I mean, he was like this was the worst of the 3. It was Cloverfield
the first one's probably the worst. It's a shallow movie following shallow hipsters.
Here's my big problem with Cloverfield Paradox. Okay, you remember Cloverfield, the first one? I don't know if you've tried to block it out of your memory, probably.
No, I remember the first one, T.J. Miller. What's that? That chick that played, what's her name? The one that fucking that was following them around and then ended up getting,
The only one I remember of that movie is T.J. Miller.
Yeah,
I think that was like his first movie, I think.
Yeah.
Or had to have been one of his first.
Now he's making no more movies.
Say what?
Now he's making no more movies. Aw.
What do you mean?
He got Me Too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that. I'm losing track. We need like a tracker.
Yeah, you're losing track.
He's in this new Deadpool movie though, so at least has got that.
They're not gonna get rid of him from the Deadpool movie. He plays a integral character.
So he's Weasel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen Deadpool. I'm just
Deadpool's that's one of my favorites. I actually really
Deadpool was really good.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly good. I didn't think Fox had it in them to make a good superhero movie. Anyway,
well, they let him go. That's what they did.
Yeah, they weren't like, it wasn't like Fantastic Four where they just had constant supervision.
This is what it needs to make money. It's like, man, dude, we got all these, because I tend to find out. I found out that Deadpool fans are every bit as annoying as fucking Deadpool, and they probably fucking.
You didn't know that before?
Yeah. But I dig how annoying Deadpool is. That's part of his charm. You know, not so much the fans, but I'm pretty sure that I don't know. They just knew that the only way this was gonna make money is if they just let him go, because it's.
What's sad is most Wolverine comics you read, I enjoy them. I don't know what your personal opinion is, but I think most of them are good. Like, I think the writers have a good sense of the character. Deadpool, on the other hand, it's a 50-50 shot whether or not this is going to be.
It depends on who's writing him.
It's a 50-50 shot on whether or not this comic is going. They're going to try to play to the fans, or they're trying. They're like trying too hard to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are some that are really good. Like, I remember the first when he first met his zombie head from the zombie dimension and all that stuff, like the he was having conversations. I thought all that stuff was good, and then they started doing stuff where he was like a pirate or something like that. It just kind of got.
Well, yeah, they did a whole thing where he was time traveling, which I kind of like. He became friends with the ghost of Ben Franklin. That just strikes me as something that would happen in a Deadpool comic.
chewing.
Sorry. You're over here giving Brian and Randy shit for chewing. I'm so glad I don't have my headphones. Yeah, Randy's supposed to give me a ride
in the car today, man.
Oh, man. I thought that was fake news when you sent that to me. I was like, man, he's just doing that because he knows he's going to be here.
Yeah. I expect him to start banging on the door any minute now. Breaking down the door. Oh. Yeah. So anyway, I was saying about Cloverfield. My biggest problem with Cloverfield Paradox. Okay, the first Cloverfield, it didn't look like there was any kind of energy crisis going on. Am I mistaken? Like, I don't know exactly what an energy crisis looks like. But these people are having parties. They're going to Coney Island. They're living it up. But in this movie, it's like, if we don't find a solution to the world's energy crisis, there's going to be absolute chaos.
I have no clue, man. And I don't know how it connects. I mean, in the original too, it was kind of, you couldn't really tell because it was all supposed to be like handheld footage, so you couldn't get a beat on anything for too long.
I mean, this could have been just like really rich kids. So,
yeah,
I don't.
Well, that's what it struck me as too. It's like a bunch of rich hipsters that are,
yeah, that's who you want as your protagonist.
Yeah, a bunch of rich hipsters, and his whole reason for taking his friends that are following, that love him enough to follow him to make sure he's safe. His whole thing is he's going to save a girl who showed up to his going away party with another guy.
Really, honestly, they just needed a do-over with that movie. Just
it wasn't even the found footage part. It wasn't even the...
No. I think it really could have worked with the found footage.
Yeah.
It probably helped the film. I mean, could you imagine if that had been like, let's say like Godzilla that came out. It was just like a typical Hollywood blockbuster, but with just this Cloverfield monster. It probably would have looked lame. Mm-hmm. I think the found footage might have helped it.
Oh yeah, because the Cloverfield, when I first saw the actual like full on Cloverfield monster's kind of stupid looking.
But the way they did it was a little creepy. When he comes down and he like bites it or whatever, bites the T.J. Miller or whatever his character. Yeah. I was talking about the Cloverfield monsters. He's creepy. Am I the one that thinks the Cloverfield monster is just creepy? Not necessarily scary. Not necessarily scary, but I just think he's creepy with his bulging, sacs on the side of his face, and he's just got this crazy. By the way, was the Cloverfield monster at the end just like extremely huge? Is that like,
yeah, or it might have just been jumping? I don't know.
Well, they show like the capsule.
Well, sooner or later it'll get so big. Like it struck me, if it's growing at that rate, sooner or later it'll get so big that it wouldn't be able to breathe in our atmosphere. Like it would leave our atmosphere and wouldn't be able to breathe.
Yeah. I'm thinking because they dropped a nuke on it, didn't they, at the end? If I remember correctly. So he just absorbed that, like kind of like Godzilla, and he just grew bigger from it. Fed on.
Well, technically it could be happening in one universe. That the other universe is the one with the big one. The other one's the one with the baby.
Right.
Because nobody knows what's going on Earth. Not even the chick that they found in the walls.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know what's going on Earth. So for all we know, that same shit could be happening on her Earth.
Yeah. The trick to Cloverfield Paradox is not to think about it too much.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's an enjoyable movie. I mean, it's. I wouldn't say it was a good movie. Just say it was a.
Did you like seeing Chris O'Dowd? He's one of my favorite.
Is that the
Irish guy?
Okay.
If you ever
Moon Boy and all that.
You ever watch the IT Crowd? You need to watch the IT Crowd. It's one of the better shows they ever made. It's a BBC show.
Oh, I'm already done. I'm done.
It's hilarious. It's like the British Seinfeld. You gotta watch it.
Okay, I'm done.
Chris O'Dowd and Richard Ayoade, or however you say his name is, he's in there too, and they're both hilarious. Anyway, check it out. I highly recommend the IT Crowd. Or the id crowd. No one's ever really sure. Not even the creator of the show is sure how you're supposed to say it. It follows the IT department of a like a law. That's the other funny thing. They never really clearly say what the business is.
Well, I think it would be funny if it's a play on words, like the id crowd would be the IT guys. Crowd. Yeah, I would think it would be the id crowd.
they've tried to remake it for American television.
Oh yeah,
twice.
it had Joel McHale in it and everything.
And the first one had Joel McHale. The second one, I don't know. They tried with somebody else and it just failed. Whatever. But that gives you an idea of how good it was. They've tried twice to redo this show and it hasn't.
Well, sometimes it works. The Office worked.
Yeah, but they only had to redo that one. They only had to try once. They didn't, they didn't fail and just keep making it. So, yeah, but it was a nice surprise, Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least we got that. So,
have you seen any Altered Carbon?
Any older what?
The show Altered Carbon.
No, it keeps popping up my suggested things.
I saw the first episode. Me and Brian saw the first episode today. So good.
Really?
Yeah. It's really good.
I keep
just the first episode had. It was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna watch all.
I keep meaning to watch Black Mirror just to see what it's all about.
I haven't sat down yet. It's an anthology series, so you can.
Oh God. I watched one episode.
You don't like anthology series?
It depends. Some of them are really good. Some of them are bad.
Well, that's the nature of anthology series. Some episodes are going to be really good. So we throw away.
I watched the very first episode of American Horror Story. I was just so offended by how cliche the whole thing was. I couldn't watch the rest of it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people that I know watch American Horror Story.
Like and I think to myself, was so dumb.
It was just like the whole, like, it to me is like, I had the same problem with a bunch of my friends who are really into How I Met Your Mother. And I was just like,
oh, my wife loves that show. I can't stand it.
That is one of the worst fucking shows I've ever seen in my goddamn life. Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty obnoxious.
I mean, you got the couple on there that's like, they write them so like, ugh. They intentionally try to over cute them, like make them cute and all that. Like, it's just like sickening. It's just like, you pandering pieces of shit. Ugh.
Yeah. So, one thing I wanted to talk to you about is there's a lot of news going on in MMA, and you're our resident MMA guy.
I don't
because no one else I know watches UFC.
I watch it sometimes now.
Couple of questions. Should I go with the big news about MMA or
what you got?
Floyd Mayweather or Mayweather? I don't know who Floyd Mayweather. Floyd's been teasing a run at an MMA fight.
He's a dumb motherfucker if he thinks he's gonna come out if he thinks that he's gonna go in there in the cage and do anything but get his ass kicked.
It's kind of like Vince McMahon with the XFL.
It's like Conor McGregor going into boxing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying just what happened to Conor is the same thing that's going to happen to Floyd.
Yeah.
Okay, so Floyd is definitely interested. I don't know if.
Well, he's never been the smartest guy. Of course, he's going to do it, and he's going to fucking.
What's his name?
The
owner of UFC. What's
Dana White?
I don't know how interested Dana White is.
Oh, Dana White's definitely.
He should be interested.
He's going to do that thing where he talks all kinds of shit. No, I'll never have that fight. And then like a month later, he's going to be like, oh, "Okay, we made the fight."
Okay,
because he's such a flip flop and
he goes one-on-one with Conor.
I'm not going to call him a dumbass because dude does know how to run a fucking company. And
he goes one-on-one with
fighters
Conor.
In line.
He'll get creamed.
Yeah.
Am I thinking? What about Ronda Rousey?
Are we talking like? No, he's still a man. No.
He's still a man.
Yeah, he's still a man now.
But that would be a better fight, don't you think? Ronda Rousey versus Floyd.
Yeah, he'd witty whomper like 2 or 3 times and that'd be it. It'd be like watching like a pimp in the 80s like beat down a prostitute on the corner in the just like mercilessly.
Are you saying that's something you don't want to see?
No, I really don't want to see it. I don't want to see a man beating up on a woman.
Good for you. Well, then you're not really an indie mark, are you? Because that's something that's prevalent.
Wrestling is predetermined. I'm not. It's not the same.
I still don't like seeing that. That's why I don't like Lucha Underground. They have that all the time at Lucha Underground.
Well, they frame their women as superheroes, so they're able to take more damage. I get what they're doing. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So
Lucha Underground's a whole different thing.
Yeah, MMA. Well, anyway, Floyd being in there. Was this something you'd want to see?
No, I didn't really want to see.
Not even like as a spectacle.
No.
Because I enjoyed seeing Conor
it's disrespectful
boxing
to
as like the spectacle.
It's literally disrespectful to both sports. In my opinion, I'm not the end all be all of that. So just take that with a grain of salt.
Did you see the guy pull a pile driver as in an MMA fight? Did you see that?
I saw the drop kick. I saw a guy do a drop kick in MMA and instantly paid for it.
So there are wrestlers that are. Somebody did a Boston Crab, the walls of Jericho.
Well, no, I mean a Boston Crab is a legitimate submission hold. It's used in shoot wrestling all the time, and I'm not talking about like a shoot professional wrestling. I'm talking about actual shoot wrestling tournaments.
But he looked like he had to struggle for it, but he was really happy when he got the walls of Jericho on that.
Oh
game.
yeah, it's you can get you can legitimately submit somebody and like legitimately submit somebody with like a Boston Crab, a figure four. A figure four is basically a modified knee bar.
But getting the figure four locked on, that's the trouble.
Yeah, that is the trouble.
But the pile driver, it's been floating around. I've seen it on different sites. Some guy's been doing pile, and more than once, he put a pile driver on somebody, which is kind of cool. Remember, Dan Severn used to powerbomb guys in UFC. You remember that?
One of the most brutal fucking power bombs I've ever seen in MMA was Quentin Rampage Jackson. And he did it in Pride, and he completely, like, dude went completely fucking limp after it. Like, just, like, there was no lights on, nobody home. It was just straight up just like, oh, my God. Like, I could hear JR in the background. He killed him. He killed him.
I remember one time, when me and my brother, my older brother, Andy, we first started getting back into wrestling because we fell out of it a little bit. Because I think there comes a time when people sort of find out the truth about Santa Claus, and it's around the same time they find out the truth about wrestling, and that it's great. No, I'm just kidding. And that it's predetermined, just like Santa Claus is predetermined. I remember finding out about Santa Claus and wrestling kind of like within a month of each other. I was 17 years old. No, I was, I think I'm about 10, I want to say. And I sort of figured it all out. And you can imagine how crushed I was as a child to find out everything in life is a lie. And so
welcome to being an adult.
Around that time, I sort of fell off of watching it. And around when Stone Cold Steve Austin started blowing up in '97, that's when me and my brother, we started watching again. Like, oh, this is cool. It was the greatest thing about Stone Cold Steve Austin was you could like admit you were a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. People would still think you were okay and cool. Like up to that point,
you could do that with the Hulk Hogan. I mean,
if you were like in '95 or whatever, and you were as an adult, you told someone you liked Hulk Hogan, people would thought you were a kid.
Oh, in '95 I wasn't an adult.
Yeah, but as
a kid, I could.
But I was an adult when Stone Cold was wrestling, but people didn't look down because Stone Cold, like he broke that level. He was still cool because he looked like he could legitimately whoop somebody's ass. And so anyway, it was around '98. Me and my brother Andy, we discovered like power bombs, and we discovered that we could do power bombs on each other. And tombstone pile drivers were okay because you're well protected if you do it correctly.
You weren't doing Steiner screwdrivers.
No, but we used to do. Like it'd be just on like pavement. We used to do tombstone. We'd fuck our knees up, but it was kind of cool to like show that in front of people because people think we'd killed each other. But so we started doing power bombs. I remember this one power bomb, and I have it on. We videotaped it, and we had like this mattress on the floor, and he was supposed to power bomb me onto the mattress. I remember he missed the mattress, and he power bombed me just right on like the wood. There was like a thin layer of carpet because we lived in this house that was really cheap. It was a thin layer of carpet, so it was like the wood plank. Man, I just couldn't move for a few seconds. It hurt so bad. So yeah, power bombs. And our buddy Seth, of course, his Ringside Review, he used to let me power bomb him on our old friend Jason's car because he used to have this Chevy Nova, like this '78 Chevy Nova, back when they built cars like extra tough. And so, like, the hood of his car could stand a lot of damage. So we would just wait for, like, we'd, like, park it in front of, like, the old Kmart or something. Just, like, wait for people to walk out. I just power bomb because Seth could take it. And and people would just laugh. No one ever thought I murdered somebody. So yeah, that's cool. So the pile driver and MMA. Did you see that congressman sort of bashing UFC?
Mm-mm.
He's a former fighter. I don't know what the guy's name is. He's a former fighter himself, and he was questioning their ranking system because they said, all right, so you had this one guy who's like the 10th ranked fighter going for the title. Why is that? Why did you pass? Because did number 2 through 9 turn it all down? I mean, why did you go straight? And like the guy was trying to explain, goes, well, this guy's a former pound for pound best fighter in the world. He's a former champion and all this. And he goes, yeah, but what about the guy who's ranked number 2? When's he getting his title shot? You know, or ranked number 3 or 4, and the guy couldn't really explain, and he just went after him. What do you think about this? The UFC's the way they have their fights. Is it unfair?
No, I think they give you more fights you want to see on the average more than boxing does.
Right.
Because it's all like in one spot usually with like UFC that, you know, whereas like boxing is all like spread out.
Now I can understand UFC. I mean, fighting, you know, legit fighting, whatever. Above all else, they make their money off of entertainment. And I can understand why guys like Brock Lesnar get their first title shot, just like their third match into their career or whatever it was. Because you remember that? He had like, he went for like, who was it he beat? He was Liddell?
No, he beat Couture. He got beat his first time by Frank Mir.
Right. And I think
that was his first time, I think. Yeah, it was. Then he came back and he beat Crazy Horse, who is actually from here.
From this studio?
Oh, from Waco.
Oh.
At least that's what was on his bio anyway. And then I think that's when he avenged.
At least that's what I put on Wikipedia.
And he took out Shane Carwin.
But he only had like 2 matches before his title match, I think, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy, is it not?
Well, the dude's fucking huge.
I know, but it's like he didn't do anything really to deserve a title shot.
Yeah.
You know. In fact, he lost a match, you know.
Yeah, but that was at the time where the heavyweight scene was pretty weak. Now
so the point I'm trying to make is it's for entertainment purposes. So they want to put fights, matchups that people actually want to see. Was this congressman being too much of a dick, you think? Or was he on to something? Should they adhere to their own ranking system more?
I think sometimes ranking systems can be just a little... they do it for the sake of, like, you know...
I'm not sure, but I think maybe because of whatever licenses, I think legally they have to. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to get like some kind of official sports license or whatever to put on these things. I didn't, because the guy mentioned it, the congressman mentioned it, and he was that's basically why he was getting on to them so much is, you know, they're registered as far as, you know, competition, and it's all about giving people equal chances.
I mean, you could say that about any combat sport.
I don't know. It's interesting. What was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about?
I think of it just like college rankings.
Did you hear about this Quincy Jones interview he did recently?
Oh my God, I haven't heard that name in forever.
Quincy Jones is at a place in his life now where he apparently has just ran out of fucks. And apparently he knows a lot of dirt on a lot of people. And so this interview was interviewing him, and he was just casually saying all this stuff.
I want to hear that Oprah dirt. I know she's got some.
Well, he said something about Oprah. He basically said, because the interview was asking him about her running for president. And he was like, I can get to that in a second, but he was like, no, she shouldn't run for president, blah, blah, blah. But the first thing he talks about is Michael Jackson. Now, but it's not the good stuff that you were hoping for, like, yeah, he molested those kids or whatever.
What do you mean that's the good stuff I was hoping for? No.
Well, no, I don't say you were hoping he molested kids, but you're hoping that Quincy would just come out and say, we have the hard evidence, because it's all speculation.
Either way, hard evidence in either direction of you, it would be interesting. It would be more interesting if it was in the direction of him molesting kids. I'm not gonna lie, but
he basically said, Michael stole a lot of his songs. He says, just listen to the songs. There's no way around it. He just stole a lot. And he started listing off different songs that Michael Jackson straight up ripped off. Now, remember, they showed this footage of like Bob Fosse, the dancer from the 70s. And they said, look at this. And it was basically, he was doing all of his moves from like Smooth Criminal or Billie Jean or whatever it was, like all the different pivots or whatever. And he goes, and they were saying, look, Michael Jackson, he saw this footage. And he basically took this thing.
Wait a minute, Corey Feldman didn't teach Michael?
No, Corey Feldman didn't teach him, no.
I thought that's what the lore was.
No,
isn't that what he said?
Corey Feldman
he taught him some moves?
I never heard that.
No, he literally said that it's like, no. I didn't steal any moves from Michael Jackson. We just started dancing at the same time.
But I do know that Michael Jackson paid, because somebody else came up with moonwalking. And he paid the original guy to come show him how to do it. So that wasn't his. That was something he bought. But yeah, just
he paid for it. So
yeah, but people, give him credit as originating that. But, they're saying he stole.
He made
a
it
lot of
famous.
Stuff.
Making it famous and inventing it are two different things.
He goes on more about Michael Jackson. He starts talking about the Clintons. Because he's real.
What, George Clinton?
No. It's very good that I clarify. No, the Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton.
Nobody even knows who the hell George Clinton is.
And, well, the interviewer, the exact question, which I don't know if I can ask the exact question, but this is for review purposes. He goes, you just mentioned the Clintons, who are friends of yours. Why is there still such visceral dislike of them? What are other people not seeing in Hillary, for example, that you see? His answer to that was, it's because there's a side of her, when you keep secrets, they backfire. And the interviewer asks, like what secrets? And he says, this is something else I shouldn't be talking about. And he sort of cut it off there. So there's, surprise, surprise, some dirt with the Clintons. I'm sure this comes as a shock to no one. Then the interviewer asks him, because he just talks about he knows a lot of stuff. And he mentioned casually who killed Kennedy. So he asked Quincy who did it. And he says it was a Chicago mobster named Sam Giancana. I don't know how you pronounce it. The connection was there between Sinatra and the mafia and Kennedy. Joe Kennedy, he was a bad man. He came to Frank to have him talk to Giancana about getting votes. And of course, this is an old theory, but it totally sounds legit. And you know what? Everything points to this too, that the mob was connected with Kennedy being assassinated. You never heard this before?
No, I've heard them all before, actually.
Because the guys that were found at the train tracks wearing nice Italian suits, and wasn't it Woody Harrelson's dad was one of them or something like that?
What about the lady they could never find that would have saw everything?
Oh, the babushka. Yeah. Here, you know what I honestly think happened that day? I think that mobsters went down to Dallas to assassinate Kennedy, but they had no idea that a crazy person named Lee Harvey Oswald was also there. And I think Oswald wasn't connected at all. But then again, why did Jack Ruby shoot Oswald? So why did he get rid of him so quickly? So who knows? I don't know. There's lots of stuff that's covered up there.
Wasn't his excuses like he was being a patriot? That he shot him? That was the reason he did
Oswald was all caught up with the Soviets at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And the Soviets didn't like him. And it's even been revealed recently the KGB plotted to kill Lee Harvey Oswald before he killed Kennedy. So, and then he goes on to talk. The weirdest thing, now let's get right down to the good stuff. The weirdest thing, I'll save the good stuff for a second. At one point, the interviewer asks, this is all on vulture.com, by the way, in case you're wondering, vulture.com. But what about this is the question, what about the alleged behavior of a friend of yours like Bill Cosby? Is it hard to square what he's been accused. The guy's Canadian that's interviewing us. Maybe this is the way Canadians talk. I don't know.
Hard to square
what he's been accused of with the person, And he goes, and this is Quincy's answer verbatim. It was all of them. Brett Ratner, Harvey Weinstein. He's a jive motherfucker. Wouldn't return my 5 calls. A bully. And the interviewer goes, what about Cosby, though? And then he goes, what about it? Because were the allegations a surprise to you? And he once again said, we can't talk about this in public, man. So yeah, it's interesting there. But the goods. Oh, here's something else that's really great. He mentioned that he used to date Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter.
I doubt that. Dude must be losing his goddamn mind.
All of this is just going to be dismissed as a crazy old man. And so the interview asks more about it. He goes, yes, sir, 12 years ago, Tommy Hilfiger, who was working with my daughter, Khadija. I know about Rashida Jones. I don't know who Khadija Jones is. Said, Ivanka wants to have dinner with you. I said, no problem. She's a fine motherfucker. She had the most beautiful legs I've ever saw in my life. So apparently Ivanka was going after Quincy. Quincy, of course, I think was only 75 at that time. So,
well, she strikes me as a girl that would have daddy issues.
Would your friend Oprah be a good president? His response is, I don't think she should run. She doesn't have the chops for it. If you haven't been a governor of a state or the CEO of a company or a military general, you don't know how to lead people. And then the interview said, well, she is the CEO of her company. And he says, a symphony conductor knows more about how to lead than most business people, more than Trump does. He doesn't know shit. He's not even talking about Oprah anymore. So anyway, let's see. The stuff I want to get to when he starts talking about, was it not Marlon Brando?
No, he's is that the one where what you call it? Go ahead.
No, what are you thinking about?
Is that the one about him fucking someone famous?
Yeah.
Or well, apparently fucked?
He apparently fucked a lot of famous guys.
Yeah.
Is what
and someone you wouldn't think was gay.
Yeah.
He linked him to fucking him.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what he said.
All right.
Because he was talking about how Marlon Brando.
It's got to be black. It's got to be a black guy.
He said Marlon Brando used to go cha-cha dancing with us. He could dance his ass off. He was the most charming motherfucker you ever met. He'd fuck anything. He'd fuck a mailbox. James Baldwin, Richard Pryor, Marvin Gaye. And then the interviewer goes, he slept with them? How do you know that? And Quincy's response was, come on, man. He did not give a fuck. You like Brazilian music? And then they start talking about Brazilian music. This is where it really pisses me off in the interview. He doesn't go back to that at all. They just start talking about music after that. I think maybe what happened was the interviewer was like, this man's obviously lost his mind, or he's afraid of some kind of lawsuit, so he didn't touch back to it. But why would you include that in your printed article? How do you casually say Marlon Brando fucked Richard Pryor, and what was the other famous name?
Marvin Gaye. That was
Marvin Gaye.
And there was one other person.
James Baldwin, who I don't know who James Baldwin. He's not one of the Baldwin brothers. Is he their father? I don't know. But how do you just casually say Marlon Brando, revered as one of the greatest actors of our time, fucked one of the greatest stand-up comedians of our time, and had a gay interracial affair? I don't see how you just gloss over that. So yeah, that was interesting.
And that's a sign of a good businessman too. he just totally glossed over it and just kept the conversation going.
He's like, you like Brazilian music?
Yeah, it's like
what the fuck you mean Brazilian music?
Yeah, Marlon Brando fuck Richard Pryor, Marvin Gaye. Hey,
you like Brazilian music? It was what's interesting is there was stuff he was holding back, I guess he was like, my daughter Rashida kind of has an acting career going on right now. Wow. I don't want it to be destroyed completely, so I hold some stuff back.
Yeah, I would totally miss her.
Yeah. What's funny is he openly talks about who killed JFK, but he won't talk about if Bill Cosby really raped those women. I don't know. I guess that pretty much means he did.
I don't understand how you can not not be like, oh, okay, Bill Cosby raped them women. He raped those bitches. That's the one situation. It's like, okay, we don't really need a trial. I mean, that many women come forward. I mean, one of them's got to be telling, at least one of them's got to be telling the truth.
You know what I find interesting?
And I'm not saying that it's just one either. I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're all telling the truth, all things considering.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty...
All their stories line up.
It would be hard to do a conspiracy of that magnitude with that many... Wasn't like 40 women? I think that was the final count.
Yeah.
Like 40, something like that. Like, all of them are really looking for some money or whatever, just... It's doubtful. And plus, people, you look back on it, people have hinted for years this has been going on. This is not something new. I mean, why else would Hannibal Buress say, go research this shit on Google? It's not like all of a sudden, there was just these explosion. It'd been, these rumors have been going on for a while. So staying on that subject of drugging women, have you seen this video that's been going around of this guy that gave his girlfriend female Viagra? Have you seen this? It was all over my Twitter feed, just different people sharing this. And it was like, this guy gave his girlfriend a Viagra and her Red Bull or whatever, and look at what happened next. And first of all, I don't know is female Viagra like a real thing? Because I've heard two different stories. I've heard that it really works, and then I've heard that it's hit and miss.
Well, I don't care enough about female health to keep it on.
But look, back in the day, there used to be this stuff called Spanish fly, which I always heard I think, didn't I used to sell it in like those little vending
that always
machines?
struck me as like snake oil. Like,
that's what I thought too. I was like, this can't
I mean, I
work.
don't know. I've never talked to anybody about it.
But they used to sell,
they used to sell it with the condom dispensers.
Yeah, with the condoms. It was Spanish fly stuff.
Oh.
And I remember seeing this little interview with Larry King and Bill Cosby joking about Spanish fly, and it's really disturbing now looking back on it. But yeah, female Viagra, and so this guy puts some of this stuff. He crunches it up, right, and puts it in her drink, and she drinks it, and she's driving, and she's all getting hot and bothered, and she's like reaching for the guy's crotch and all that, and she just really wants to have sex with the dude. Now, whether or not this is staged or not, people were finding this. People are all, commenting about how hilarious this was. And I was like, this guy straight up Bill Cosby'd this woman, and you guys are all laughing about this? This is not cool.
That's his girlfriend.
It doesn't make it better, I don't think.
It's his girlfriend.
still drugged another human being without their knowledge,
I mean, she's awake, isn't she?
Yeah, but you're still playing with fire.
She's awake, and it doesn't like hinder
ethics involved.
It doesn't hinder her motor functions, does it?
Well, it makes her just want sex.
It
really
doesn't
bad,
it doesn't like alter her mind to the point where she can't make her own decisions, right?
Well, yeah, it does. I think because she's that like horny. She just doesn't want
Well, no, that just shows poor impulse control.
No, that shows what the medicine's doing to her.
I mean, even Viagra doesn't work unless you want it to work.
Yeah, well, that's for men. Female Viagra works differently. It makes women.
Well, you don't even know if it's a real thing. How are you going to tell me that that's not how it works?
This is how this works. I don't know. It's just I personally think it's wrong. Plus, giving someone else a medicine you don't know the effects of, that's wrong. He didn't know what that medicine was going to do to her. He didn't know he was going to overdose. He didn't know the combination of Red Bull or whatever it was.
You've never tricked anyone with like laxatives before?
No.
You've never given anybody a chocolate laxative before?
No.
I guess I'm a horrible person.
Come on, what did you do?
No, I was in college. We were giving out like.
Was it someone I know?
No. We were giving out chocolate laxatives, but we only got the chocolate laxatives because a guy that a really really creepy dude. It was kind of slow. He was like worse than Randy. He was kind of quiet when we first met him, but we started talking to him, and we got him to tell us about his fetishes and stuff like this without really asking him. He had he had ass worship fetish or ass fetish. Basically, he wanted to be defecated on, and he wanted to like.
It's amazing that a slow person had this.
Yeah, he wanted a girl to fart in his face. He said he told us his earliest memory was a time when like he was in school and he was on the bus. He left his backpack somewhere, and like a girl sat on his backpack, and then when she got up, he smelt that part of the backpack all the way home. Ugh.
Wouldn't that make you? I don't see how that wouldn't make somebody throw up. I mean, honestly.
No, just listening to it, we thought it was funny because we were degenerates at the time. We still are. I still kind of find it funny. But, yeah, he brought some chocolate laxatives to school, and apparently he was going around school asking girls if they would help him out. So we got some of his laxatives from him. A friend of ours managed to talk.
I thought you were going to go the direction of that's the only way we could find laxatives. I was going to have news for you. You can buy those over the counter.
No, he gave us some. He just gave us some.
How do you hand those out? I mean, they're like you can't just like straight up hand somebody some unwrapped.
No, usually chocolate. Like, here, you want some chocolate? And just like give him a piece of chocolate.
Like, how big was it? We're talking.
It was like 2 squares. It's just like not that long. I was like, yeah, we'll take a piece of chocolate. No.
Was it unwrapped though?
Oh, we put it in like one of those what you call it?
Candy wrapper kind of deal.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear any results?
It was like, here, you want a piece, and we break it off and then hand it to him.
Did you hear any results of what happened?
Yeah, we heard some like, man,
say, what the fuck did you do to me?
No, it's not even that. It's like, man, I must have ate something really shitty, man. What the hell? Like,
yeah,
it's great.
I have some in my house just in case. Some laxative. Not that I want anybody to fart or shit on me. I just have it. It looks delicious though. Really, the laxative, the chocolate. It's like in my mind, I'm like, oh man, this looks so good. Like, no, don't do it. You know, I don't know. I couldn't imagine wanting somebody to fart in your face.
I can't imagine it either.
Like, is it?
I mean, it is one step away from like, you know, if you eat ass, you're almost basically there.
Yeah, but I don't do that either. So
good luck staying married long. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to lick your wife's ass, dude.
Ass. No, thank you.
Sooner or later, it's gonna get to that point where it's like, we've done everything. It's time you lick my ass, Michael.
I hope no one takes that clip of you saying that and uses that.
Because you said that, somebody is.
Oh, great.
She's gonna come in and it's like, you know what?
It's online forever now.
We gotta spice it up. I need you to eat my ass.
Don't see that
for the sake of our marriage. You need to eat my ass. It's gonna happen.
If there was like a large sum of money involved, maybe. You know,
it's your wife. I mean, like,
still, we're talking millions of dollars. You'd have to give me.
Shit, I've eaten a girl's ass that I met that same night before.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say that. I don't want to put this out there. Because I didn't really like it.
Well, there's that.
No, I mean, I didn't like it. You know, she wanted to return the favor, so like,
Ooh.
It's like, okay, I thought you were pretty before, but now I just can't respect you. He's like, thanks for the enthusiasm, but I don't have any respect for you anymore.
Yeah. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Mike McBrine Show. We covered a lot today. We covered Cloverfield and ass licking are the main two things that you should know about. That's so disgusting.
Not really.
I wish Randy were here if we could hear his thoughts on this. He'd probably be crying by now. I don't know. Wonder what stories he'd have to share.
Oh man, what he could make off the top of his head. Let me tell you about that time I got my ass eaten in high school.
Yeah.
It was unwanted. I was in the showers. One of the soccer players came in, and you know how they are. Trump done told me they're all rapists, so I should have known.
Soccer player.
The little soccer boy got up in my butthole.
Yeah. No, it's just that grosses me out.
I have a thing for people who look like giant babies.
That's another clip they can take out of context. Eat my asshole out, Michael. I have a thing for people that look like babies. Now they're gonna
people
think
that look like grown babies.
Yeah, babies. So are we coming back Friday night?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Brian told me he wants to do the Shadow of the Colossus review, so I'm gonna let him.
Already? That movie, didn't that just come out? That video?
That was that's a remaster.
Oh, he's talking about the original. Okay.
No, he's doing the remaster. He's beat that game the original so many times that he could do that shit in his sleep.
Okay. I was gonna say it. When did it come out? This past Tuesday?
Yeah. Oh, he told me. I wish he was here to tell this story, but he went to go get it as soon as he got out of work because he loves that game so much. Mm-hmm. Like, he got out of work at 6 a.m, so he went down to Walmart thinking they'd be open. You know, they're supposed to be open. Mm-hmm. And the guy there he asked the guy, he's like, "Hey, when are you gonna put the game out?" It's like, "No, it ain't come out today." And he's like, "No, yeah, it did. It came out today. I've been watching after this." And the dude's like, "No, man, I really love this game." The guy that works there, it doesn't come out for another week and a half. He's like, "No, I'm telling you, like,
just go look in the bag."
It's like, I play this, and the dude's like, "No, I know. I played this game so much, and I love it so much that I too have been like keeping up with it." And
was there
Brian's
a chance
just
he
like,
was messing with Brian?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This sounds like Brian seemed offended because he told me, it's like, "Yeah, the guy tried to out nerd me, man. It was kind of pissing me off." And then the fucked up part is like
the guy working at 6 a.m. at Walmart was a nerd. Wow, go ahead.
Well, we go to GameStop to get it, and the dude's immediately like, "Yeah, we got it." So
I hope, man, Brian should have hurried back to Walmart with a copy
and like told him to go fuck himself. Yeah. No, but when we were there, there was a dude talking to Brian, and the dude's like, "Yeah, I played a little bit." Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, "I played a little bit on the PlayStation 2. He's like, "Yeah, well, I beat it 8 times." I was like, "Dude, what were you just talking about? Someone trying to out nerd you, pissing you off, and the first thing that comes out of your mouth is,
yeah, well, I beat it 8 times."
Yeah, I was like, "God damn, dude."
Is that something to brag about?
No, I mean, like, shoes on the other foot now. He was the one trying to out nerd a guy who was just trying to be polite and talk to him about a game. Like, what a prick.
Oh, my God. Man.
Because between gamers, we brag about the games we beat. Like, a big one, the one that gamers from my generation around the PlayStation 2 Xbox era was the Ninja Gaiden, the original base version.
I thought you were going to say Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear was easy.
Same for that era. That was
all the Metal Gear Solid 3s. All the Metal Gear Solids are kind of on the easy side.
You know, there's something I wanted to talk about that I forgot. And as I had something I had a common bond with Randy, and it's a shame he didn't come today because I got pulled over this morning. I really did. I got pulled over. I just dropped my daughter off at kindergarten, and for whatever reason, my mind just wasn't in the right place. I started driving off. I was going 32 in a school zone, which is 12 miles over the limit, and because of my white privilege, I got out of getting a ticket. So
well, at least you recognize it was because
I'm just kidding. It's because I was courteous and cooperative. No, I'm just kidding. It was my white privilege. No, it was. The guy was real nice about it. I said, "Oh man, I just don't even know where my head was at. I was just dropped my daughter." He goes, "Oh, you dropped your daughter off?" I think he went easy on me because I just dropped a kid off.
It's like,
so there's a tip.
You're a white man, so you bring another blue-eyed angel in.
It had
little blue-eyed angel into the world.
It had nothing to do with me cooperating and being courteous, and it was all my white privilege. No.
Yeah, you brought another pure Aryan angel into this world.
Thank you for bringing another white into this world. No, I don't know what was going through my head. Because I've literally 100 plus times just dropped her off, and it just today, I don't know. But that's a tip for everybody out there. If you don't want to get pulled, if you don't want to get a ticket for speeding in a school zone, just say, "I just dropped my kid off," and they'll go light on you. Don't ask me why, but they will. The other thing that happened to me today, I felt so stupid because of this. So, do you ever get the Tuesday Tinder deal at Bush's Bush's Chicken, for everybody that doesn't know. All right, Bush's Chicken does this.
I don't go. Like, I live down the street from Jim's Chicken. I never go to Bush's at all.
Jim's. Ugh. Jim's Crispy Chicken. So Bush's Chicken, right? Bush's Chicken. Right? So I got the tenders, right? And Bush's does this annoying thing where they have these little stickers, and they will stick your like receipt to your debit card and then hand it back to you. And it's like, I'm just trying to drive off. And normally I just put my cards back in my wallet, but because it's got this stupid sticker with the receipt on there, I just sort of threw it in the passenger seat and I just drove off. The thing is, I forgot about it. So the next day, today, I went to go get my card out of my wallet, and I can't find my credit card. So I searched all throughout my car, and I'm just like, I can't find it anywhere. My wife's freaking out. She's like, just cancel the card. Cancel the card. Somebody's going to use the card. Cancel it. I'm like, no, I know it's in the car somewhere. Just let me look for it. No, cancel the card. So I just had to throw my hands up. I'm just like, I got to cancel the card. So I canceled the card. And then as I'm going to pick up my daughter from kindergarten, I just think, wait a minute. I look in, because we have two cars, the black car and the white car. I look in the white car, and it's just sitting there in the white car. Like, this was seconds after I canceled the card. It was for no reason. So now I got to wait 3 days for my credit card. 3 business. Hopefully it'll be here before next Monday. But so, man, I felt like such an idiot. You know, you ever do that? You ever cancel something and you're just like, you find it? No, because you're not an idiot. That's why, probably.
I'm an idiot. I just
no, I know. I'm an idiot.
I am an idiot. I'm just idiots in different departments of life, I guess.
So yeah, so that sucked. So this Friday, we'll see if Leonard comes back. I don't know. He's pretty upset. Last time he was here, who knows? That guy, Leonard Zelkin, of course, hosts your favorite show, Operation Taking Back America. At least I'm under the understanding it's your favorite show. Who knows? So Operation Take Back America with Leonard Zelkin.
I think it would be perfect if we were still doing this around that time. And Far Cry 5 comes out and we have an appearance from Leonard.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I think that game would be up his alley.
The following that show is you still don't have a name for the show, do you?
Not yet. I'm working on getting a title thing, opening title thing done.
With a theme song provided by Randy, hopefully.
No, never. I told Randy he's never going to have anything to do with.
I want him to do the theme song for this show. I think that would be hilarious.
For Hot
for the Michael McBrine show. He can do the theme song for us. What can we expect that'll be different this Friday night?
I don't know.
Is it going to be more of the same, or just
pretty much more of the same?
Brian gives out kind of a dull review, and then you give him shit about it, and then he storms off, and then it's just me and you talking for the next hour.
Yeah. Trying to explain to you.
Because I'm not really happy with that scenario that you're putting.
Well, trying to explain to you that, like, that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
And I still stand behind that. This whole thing. It's like, as far as like fighting games go, like the story doesn't. No. That was the whole thing about Street Fighter. It's like they had, when the game first came out, they had like an online mode and these little challenges and these little story vignette things. But no one cared. And then they had a full-blown story mode and no one cared. You know what got people to actually start caring again? The arcade mode, where you just pick one character and fight on, and you don't see anything about story until the end.
Okay, well, this has been a production of Hot Air Media.
Yes.
It can be found on the iRadio Waco network. This has been the Mike McBrine Show. For Sanchez and everyone else, good night. Thank you for watching.